As a musical director, it's sort of a hybrid situation, musical directing and being a character in the show. In that I want to make sure that the voices sound the way they should musically as an outtake of the scenes, but also still be able to hold my own harmony. So for me, one of the tricks of doing this show is being able to sing my harmony part and not necessarily listen to the overall color, which is usually my job. The other thing is Act 1 is set in the 40s and Act 2 is set basically present day or in the 70s. So there's a different style in the singing in a presentational number than there would be in a song that basically carries the scene forward. And Act 2 is really very, very much carrying the scene forward, the action forward. So it is present day, a little more contemporary. Act 1 has a few songs which are a little bit more presentational to the period. So those basically are the easy ones. And also as another actor, not intruding on the choices that an actor makes, whereas a musical director, you can intrude a little bit more. So it's walking a very thin line.
The fog was in and Mary stays. It suffocates the house in haze. From room to room it drifts apart, and nobody except a cat gets by.
One of the interesting things that the score does, which Edie refers to, sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between the past and the present, and I think that's what's sort of interesting about the music, because it's not really, Act 2 particularly, is not really set anywhere in particular. They do marry each other, but not necessarily stamping it in the same time frame or the same chronological order that the documentary was. That's what I think is so smart about it, is you take these ladies who are being filmed in their present day, reminiscing about the past and her being dating a count or possibly marrying a count or Getty or Joe Kennedy, but then they actually take those little images that the women relate to in their present day, and then they build this history for them and move it forward. That's sort of what's magical about the show. It's also one of the more intricate scores that I've worked on, at least here at Portland Center Stage. It's a more contemporary, more not necessarily at-hand musical scores. It's a brilliant musical theater score. Some of the melodies are absolutely exquisite, but the chordal structure, and it doesn't necessarily revolve on the circle of fifths, as it were. Most musicals, if you're talking Cole Porter, it goes A, B, maybe a bridge, then back to A. In this one, even with the melody line, we're literally like having to just stamp some of the melodies in our heads, or the harmonics in our heads, because he does change the melody the second time it's repeated. There will be some slight little nuance, and you have to go, no, I don't do that again this time. This time it's this, which makes it a challenge, but also makes it so rewarding for the singer to basically get it in your voice. And it doesn't necessarily go where your ear would want it to go. It goes in a different direction, and it doesn't ever feel arbitrary. There's actually a reason for going into that color, but you got to be on your guard all the time while you're learning it. And both acts are constructed that way. Even the songs that he has set in the 40s, there's a really lovely little thing that Edie and Edith do, and then there's a nice little duet that little Edie and Joe, her fiance, do, and they have a really, to the ear, it's very like 1940s, very fun. There's a soft shoe that Edie and little Edie and Edith do that's very fun, sounds sort of maybe 20s and 30s, but to the ear, it's very accessible. To the hands and the harmonic structure, it's not. But because it lays so well in the style of it, it feels right. But there's a lot more going on than meets the ear. Daddy's little angel, stop. All my love and...
Okay. Daughter, darling, stop. Daddy's little angel, stop. All my love and wishes for success on this joyous, stop, thrilling, permanent, God willing mood of beauty and noblesse.
Good night, lawyer.
Though regretfully I can't be with you.
One of the things, the conceits musically of the show, and I don't think it's an accident, because these women, if you look at the documentary, lived in their own little dreamlike or little fantasy, not fantasy world. Their reality was their reality. Although they're living among hundreds of cats and cat litter in a rundown formerly beautiful estate. I think that their little sparks of magic sort of fly out of their mouths sometimes, and little things that make you grin or smile. I think the music has little smatterings of that as well. I don't think it's an accident. I think what they did was really marry this jigsaw puzzle that these two ladies create in the documentary, and they have this Rubik's Cube going on musically at the same time with it. I think marries very well.